Thank you so much for your great talk, Shan, and thank you for inviting me here and organizing this great session. So today I will introduce my job market paper, which is entitled "Can Prosocial Incentives Within a Goal Setting Scheme Motivate Worker?" So our first question is why we study the prosocial incentives. So as defined, prosocial incentives works as a way of motivation where workers' payments are associated with an additional reward to the charities. So let me first give you a very small example. For example, the nonprofit organization can tell a participant that if you can recycle this package to the recycling point, we will pay extra $5 to charities in your names. So from this example, we know that prosocial incentive is still using money as a bonus, but it is with a prosocial as a purpose. So our next question is that why companies provide their employees with prosocial rewards, in addition to the traditional monetary rewards? So literature gives some findings. So first of all, the prosocial incentive can benefit workers. Workers will be happier and have higher job satisfaction when they are provided with prosocial incentives. Also, prosocial incentive benefit firm as well. Firm can develop a culture of meaning, purpose, and belonging. They enjoy the tax benefit also because they motivate workers to provide more effort, they will increase their productivity. However, recent studies show that could have some limitation in applications of the prosocial incentives when given a real working environment. So the most important thing here is that when comparing to a monetary incentive, a larger prosocial reward does not necessarily increase a worker's performance. So this means that there is a non-monotonic relationship between a prosocial reward size and the individual's productivity. So literature gives us some explanation to understand this phenomenon. So for example, the warm growth giving pointed out that when workers have a chance to contribute to a prosocial cause, they will only care about is whether they help, but not about the amount that they give. There's another limitation in the practice, that is that workers will have the reduced professionalism when they are given the prosocial incentives. So a recent paper in Lee 2019 shows that it gives an accuracy-based payment in an experimental environment. And the paper shows that when the workers observe the job is for prosocial purpose, so rather than a job which the norm is the professionalism, then they will work less carefully. So therefore, we know that it is necessary to design a mechanism to improve the workers' willingness to make an effort as the reward size increase without deteriorating their quality of the output. So the possible solution here for me to solve the limitation of the prosocial incentive is to using the self-chosen goal scheme. My research question is here, given the self-chosen goal scheme and the large reward size, can prosocial incentive be comparable to monetary incentive in terms of motivating workers to make an effort? So our question here is why we think a self-chosen goal scheme work. So first of all, self-chosen goal schemes can work as a tool to motivate workers to improve their performance. So intuitively, this means that goal setting can work as a reference point, which motivates workers to work above this point so that workers will do that in order not to experience the disutility. Another strength of the goal setting is it increases the worker's effort without sacrificing the qualities, which mitigates the problem of the reduced professionalism. Also, some recent studies point out that self-chosen goal scheme can be a better choice than a given goals. So this is because that comparing to a manager setting goals, a self-setting goals can be more accurate, of course, so that it can more effectively motivate workers to set a goal which is fit its own ability, so in order to motivate themselves. So last but not least, self-chosen goals can also work as a strong self-commitment tool that helps one achieve the goal. So in this case, workers' own effort is connected to the commitment donations paid to the charities. So in this case, the workers will be less likely to behave in warm growth giving because now they do care that how much money will be donated to the charities. So to study my research questions, I follow the previous literature and develop the goal-dependent models. So in these models, I suppose a worker will have the goal-dependent preference, and her utility function have the components of the extrinsic value as well as the intrinsic value. So the extrinsic value is basically how much will the workers earns. It's including the how much of the base payment, which in my case is the piece rate payment. And also there will be another extra bonus which will be paid to workers. So this bonus is paid if and only if the worker achieve her goals. So follow the previous literature, I also assume that there could be an intrinsic utility. So this utility measures how the workers feels. It can be that I feel that feel the good job satisfaction if I achieve these goals, or I will be feel that this utility, or if I don't feel good if I did fail to achieve these goals. So the intrinsic utility is basically measures this. So because of the time limit, let me skip the model part. So in the model, I like to discuss both the case of the individuals that have the complete information about herself, or the case she has incomplete information about herself. So my hypothesis here is that when the ability is known to these workers, or ability is unknown, but one can set an achievable goal, we predict that there will be some hypotheses are hold. The first hypothesis says that a worker's output will increase with the reward size. And this hypothesis is held for both monetary incentive and prosocial incentive. So this is important because it points out that an extrinsic motivation, such as the monetary rewards, will boost one's performance. And the second hypothesis here is that a worker's output will increase with one's own set the goals when this goal is achievable. And this hypothesis is also held for both monetary incentive and prosocial incentive. So this hypothesis basically means that if there is an intrinsic motivation, and this intrinsic motivation will let the participant set a higher goals in order to motivate herself to perform better. And there's another hypothesis, it's for the prosocial incentives only. So in this hypothesis, we show that the being mission matched is important. Mission matched is that I believe in the cause of the charities, so I will work harder. So here the hypothesis says that being mission matched will motivate a worker to set herself a higher goal, and then she will produce more output. So to test this hypothesis, I designed an online experiment on the Amazon MTurk. So on the MTurk, in total, I recruit 300 MTurk workers with their acceptance rates are higher than 90%. So for a typical worker who entered this experiment, she will first in part 1 face a questionnaire. So this questionnaire begins to ask about her demographic questions, and after that, there will be the mission matching questions. So this is important because mission matching can identify the worker's commitment to a cause. As the previous literature shows, if a worker can have the chance to contribute herself to a cause that she believes in, she will definitely work harder. So in my mission matching question here, a worker will be faced with charities in 5 areas. So these charities are the most top followed charities according to the charity navigator. And these areas including the children, environmental, animal, Medicare, and vegetarian. So the workers will first read missions of these charities, and then she will be asked 2 questions about how she feels. The first question measures how do you personally cares about the mission of these charities. And there will be another question is, how do you think that the society cares about the mission of these charities? So after mission level questions, the workers need to answer another few questions about her altruism level. After finish the questionnaire, then from the part 2, part 3, and part 4 are the real after task in this experiment. So the real after task here is an encoding task, so which is a revised version developed from the Erica and other 2011 paper. So basically here the workers are required to translate the letters and words into numbers, so according to a predetermined translation table. So here, after worker know about the instruction, then she will have the 2 rounds of the game, which is for compensation. So for example, in the round 1, she will be given 10 minutes to finish the task. She needs to finish as many as possible to earn for compensation. She needs to set a goal at the beginning of this round. She is also told that in this round, there's no reward or penalty whether or not she achieved her goal or not. And her performance is based on two criteria. The first is how many goals that you can finish. And the second is the accuracy of these goals. So for each correctly answered goals, she will be paid in a piece rate by $0.02. And after she finished all the 10 minutes work, then there will be the post-task questions asked about like questions such as, how do you think that you care about the goals you set when you were doing the tasks? So in the round 2, I just do it a different way. So first, I randomly assigned all the participants into 5 groups. The first group is the non-incentive groups, or you can think of it work as the control groups here. And for the other 4 other treatment groups, I just used a 2x2 design to separate all the workers by different incentive types and different reward size. So this makes all the groups can consist of the monetary incentive with a small reward size and monetary with a large reward size. This can be a prosocial incentives with a small reward size and prosocial with large reward size. So for example, for those who are in the monetary with a small reward size groups, they are told that their basic payment will be exactly the same they faced in round 1. However, they will have an extra bonus, which is paid by the 10% out of the piece rate, multiplies the goal that they set. And for those who are in the large reward size groups, they are told that their extra bonus is equal to the 50% out of the piece rate, multiplies the goal they set. And if they fail to achieve these goals, they will be paid nothing for the reward. We also notice that for those who are in the prosocial groups, whether you are in the prosocial small or prosocial large, you will also be randomly assigned one of the 5 charities as your donating target. So these charities are those basically the charities they face in the part 1. And for the last part in this experiment, we enlisted workers about their time preference and their risk preference. So here is basically an example is how the real after task goes. So for example, in this task, the worker need to say that is told that you need to allocate a number to each capital letters and to encrypt in the word. For example, you are now encrypting the word VRT, and here the workers will know that V is equal to 60, R is equal to 75, and T is equal to 98. So the question is very simple. But notice that the letters and numbers are randomly paired in each task. So this means that here you see V is equal to 60, but next time if you see encrypting the word V again, it may be not necessarily equal to 60. So we are doing this because we want to minimize the extra intrinsic motivation, such as worker will have the learning by doing, or they feel happy when they do a doing task because they are satisfied by themselves. So now we know how the experiment is designed. So we take a look at the results part. So first we do some basic comparisons of the performance between groups. So here let's take care of the left figure. So here the red bar means that the round 1 productivity for each group. And for the blue bar is the round 2 productivity in each group. So from this figure, we show that for the non-incentive groups, which is served as our control groups, it does not significantly improve its performance across rounds. However, it is not the case in all the treatment groups. They significantly improve their performance. So if we use the number of the tasks completed correctly to do the comparison for the measurement, and we observe a very similar observation here. So we also do a very basic statistical analysis using the difference approach, and we found the results is very similar to our observation here. So next we do the simple test that with about the treatment effects using the same incentive type but a different reward size. And we observe that for a large reward size groups, they will always provide a larger treatment effects. And this finding is held for both monetary incentive groups and the prosocial incentives groups. Also, we do a very similar test for the same reward size for the different incentive types. Here, we do not see they have the much significant difference between the different incentive types. For example, we do not see that monetary large and prosocial large significant difference in their performance improvement. So to summarize our findings to here, using the DID approach, we find the relationship between the treatment effects across groups are whole. So that is the monetary small and prosocial small will have the larger treatment effect than the control group. And monetary large and prosocial large will have the largest treatment effects. And this finding is consistent with our hypothesis 1 that the output will increase with the reward size. So our next step is to see how the goal setting works. So we want to investigate that if this observed performance improvement can be explained by our self-chosen goal scheme. So to do that, we first take a look at the round 2 goal settings between each groups. So we observe that for those who are in the non-incentive groups, which is control groups, and the monetary groups, they set significantly lower, on average set significantly lower round 2 goals than the other groups. So for on average, they set only about around 60 tasks in round 2. And for the other treatment groups, they set much higher. So on average, they set more than 70 tasks in round 2. So, and this findings is maybe I'm not showing here, but it is explained by our model. So which suggests if you are being mission matched, you will like setting higher goals. And if you are a loss aversion person, or you are more concerned that you will achieve or not achieve your goals, that you will make your goal lower. So the model part explains this phenomenon, but I don't have the time to talk about this today. And then we take a look at how the goal settings affect on the performance improvement. So basically, we do the very simple regressions on the performance improvement on the round 2 goal and the round 2 goals interaction with the achievement dummy. So we show that if a person can set 10 more goals, so on average, this person, if she is in the control groups, she will set 1.5, she will finish 1.5 more tasks. If she is in monetary groups, then she will finish 0.2 or 0.7. If she is in a prosocial groups, then she will finish 1.4 and 1.6 more tasks. So this basically means that for those who are in the prosocial groups, so they are more motivated by setting a higher goals to improve their performance. So intuitively, this means that comparing to a monetary incentive groups, those who are in the prosocial groups is more relied on an intrinsic motivations. So this intrinsic motivation will let the motivate the participants to setting higher goals in order to improve her performance. However, for those who are in the monetary incentives groups, although they will have the same treatment effects, but they are more relied on an extrinsic motivation. That is, for those who are in the monetary incentives groups, the monetary reward itself is much more important. So to sum up our results here, we find that evidence to support our hypothesis 2 that the number of one's chosen goal will positively affect her performance when this goal is achieved. So we also have a small but interesting finding here is that we do not see that have much difference of the goal settings effects on those who are in the prosocial small or prosocial large. So our analysis here only explains 35% between their difference. So we want to see if there's another determinant can tell their difference. So we're thinking that the goal set of being mission match is important.
Just breaking quickly, you have a minute left.
Oh, sure. So to record that or being mission match is defined as we assume those who are mission match participants are their matching score is higher than median. So we add mission match into the regressions, and we found that if you are mission matched and if you are giving a large reward size, you will significantly improve your performance. However, if you are given a small reward size groups, then you will not do some significant improvement. So we're doing that through a mediation analysis, and we find that the mission match interaction with a large reward size affects the performance is through the setting of higher goals. So the whole mechanism is through a mediator, which is the setting higher round 2 goals, then you will improve your performance. However, the direct effect here is not significant. So to summarize our findings here, in this paper, we show that providing individuals with self-chosen goal scheme and the same reward size, we show the prosocial incentive can have an equivalent level of motivation in preference as the monetary incentives. So even when the reward size is large. Also, we have another findings is for the prosocial incentives only. We find out what is important for the prosocial incentive. We show that setting higher but achievable goals and also being mutually matched with the charity as their donating target could be important for prosocial incentives. So our paper has some implications. We show that for those firms who are more care about their the composition of their employees, they can use the monetary incentives. However, for firms who are more caring about their own corporate social responsibility, the society's well-being, and the workers' own job satisfaction, they can use the prosocial incentives. We also find that heterogeneity matters. So the heterogeneity here means the being mission matched. So being mission matched can be another essential determinant in implementing the prosocial incentives effectively. So that's what all I have today. Thank you so much for participation.